Here's a thought. Clouds are good companions and help us look positively at life. These objects, phenomena, or even entities, for some, spirits of the natural world, they accompany us many times during the day, when we walk through the city streets or in the countryside. But most of the time we don't even recognize their grace. How is it possible? We get impressed with beautiful panoramas witnessed from certain viewpoints, like mountaintops. But when we have impressive and interesting cloud formations that can be useful to read the weather, for most of us they go completely unnoticed. For a meteorologist, professional or amateur, it is even a form of divination. But not only this. Cloud spotting is simply the activity of taking pleasure in observing the clouds. There is a certain grace when we look at clouds and point them out to children, and we say in a fun way the shapes clouds look like, reinforcing the imagination they trigger in our minds, in adults as well in children. But it's the children that are socially allowed to play with their imagination, because we as adults have somehow lost that freedom and disposition. We take too seriously the conviction that imagination must belong to children only. For adults, imagination has a more practical problem-solving purpose. For us, it won't be useful for much else unless it's suspension of disbelief associated with entertainment, but only if it's for sophisticated media consumption like movies or games, or maybe in the future virtual reality. In fact, imagining what the cloud shapes look like is a primitive form of description. It's an attempt at naming. The last video I made was a video about the role of description in describing the world. The relationship of description to what reality is. Watch the video here because it adds to what I'm going to say. To describe the clouds is to augment the registry of the observation. The greater the knowledge one has of the possible typology of clouds, the greater the amplitude of description of what is observed. Also, the recognition for oneself of what would be just any cloud for a layman will be for a cloud spotting enthusiast, a genus, a species, and even specific variations. So this is all to catalog clouds and thus enrich one's own understanding of what would be otherwise just a regular cloud. The WMO, which stands for World Meteorological Organization, recognizes many types of clouds. If you are curious and want to learn more, I'll leave the links in the description box below. So all types of clouds have distinct causes that can be investigated by observing them and conjuring up some hypotheses, and this is fun to do. There are scientific explanations, of course, but even if you don't know any of them, it's worth observing and contemplating and imagining their origin story, so to speak, to admire their relative sizes, to theorize why they formed, and to try to understand the climatic context of the region at that particular time. It's all fun, and it's all a form of divination or an exercise at better guessing. And why do I find cloud spotting an enriching and positive activity, even for spiritual development? Because it easily takes us out of mental doldrums. A cloudy sky can be a source of escape when you notice how it is as if a landscape. It's a landscape of the sky, and that it accompanies us wherever we go. Those are landscapes that we can enjoy without having to travel. The atmosphere that moves is as if we are traveling. if we take the leap of faith, or if we can somehow open ourselves to this journey and notice the details in the sky, occupies our minds and distract us from the problems of the earth. So for me, it is one of the greatest pleasures, and I'm not exaggerating. Now imagine someone who lived in a cave for a long time, be it on their own initiative or forced. What is certain is that person once out will enjoy the sky in another way. Just the act of tilting the head back will give joy. In fact, there is some evidence that the eyes and their relative arrangement in the eye sockets influences our mood. I think it was neuroscientist Andrew Huberman who I heard him talk briefly about this on his podcast. Be it as it may, I think it is generally agreed that someone with their heads down tends to be unhappy. Of course, there will be a primary reason for this, a depression maybe caused by some situation. But continuing this behavior prolongs and reinforces this same tendency towards negativity. Contrary to this, looking up instead is a positive act in itself. I remember my time of happy days when I was a child and played around flying a kite. I would spend hours looking at the kite flying in the sky. Little did I know what clouds could be for me psychologically. And all that landscape that I was seeing, the kite flying high with cumulus clouds behind to give a certain contrast of distance, made me have perspective of the tiny being that I am, of the smallness of me, but being still a significant element in the appreciation of the scenery. So don't be timid or somehow restrained. Look up. Let the clouds be the excuse, because you will see it's worth it. Because psychologically, cloud spotting can be useful because you have a way to escape to the landscape of the sky. As a weather subject matter, cloud spotting is useful. You will become better at sensing the weather. Physiologically, cloud spotting is also useful because it straightens your spine and prevents the formation of a hump. You will have a more correct position of your body, a better posture. So start looking up. Sometimes you will even feel lucky, because imagine this. Your boss may not have given you a rise. Your school exams didn't go well, or you feel social pressure for whatever reason. But when you find rare cloud formations like altocumulus lenticularis or stratocumulus fluctus or a fallstreak hole, this makes your day. And the sizes of the clouds can be enough to make us humble before these giants. And the rarity and impermanence makes us reflect on our own condition as human beings. It can serve as a contemplative meditation. There is a doctrine called Shugendo, and one of its practices is to go up to the mountains and enjoy the scenery from up there. And this pleasure that seems to be innate in human beings since time immemorial, in my view, might have a lot to do with the fact that the horizon, one can observe it unobstructed. That makes it so much easier to observe the sky and consequently the clouds that it may present. After all, cloud spotting is best achieved at certain vantage points such as mountains and other high unimpeded locations. Of course, Shugendo is not specifically about gazing at the clouds. It is an appreciation of the whole of the scenery. For a lack of better words, it's the taking advantage of the mountain's perspective. from the valley to the plateau and the horizon to the zenith of the sky, cultivating a healthy feeling of freedom. Today I just wanted to show you the validity of knowing how to describe the clouds, and offer you maybe a superficial knowledge that there are all those Latin names to catalog the clouds, because contemplating them is not only possible visually, but also contemplating their names that gives us a certain personality for each type of cloud. Imagine what it's like to be called all of ourselves, each one of ourselves just Mr. Person. But that's not the case. Each one of us has a name, and that serves as something for us to imagine beyond visual observation. Therefore, contemplation of imagination and description is as valid as that of the sense of sight. And what's more, it only enriches contemplation itself. Tools for contemplation are not limited to clouds, obviously. But we also have insects to watch. We also have cars for who likes cars. But more than insects and cars, it's the clouds that almost every day peek over our shoulders. So cloud spotting can be an useful tool for wellness. Cloud spotting is useful for contemplation. Be well.